Right down there, who's got a.
So like today?
But her partner does the best.
Okay,
She does
thanks,
all
big,
that.
bold, brave decisions, right? You did great with that.
And they celebrate.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. And things are, well,
Oh my gosh.
I would love
Mr. Romano.
to grab yours.
How are you?
Are you coming to that?
Of course. Why not?
You look fabulous.
There was something I wanted. Going to the hairdresser to cover up the gray, I'm like,
That's why I decided to just let it happen.
Okay.
Yeah, especially.
Someone who's a sister.
It looks like we got. No.
Thanks. It's okay.
come out right at all.
I'm okay with that. I embraced it. That's why I did it. I'm too lazy.
Which now I treat everything.
Right.
And then this. Yeah, oh, like 2.5 and.
That's what I was getting to 3C.
So I wondered where you were going with all that good stuff.
Yeah, do you see our kitchen in a box?
Guess we were the first student.
Yeah,
Yes, this is Brandon. He's our garden and healthy lifestyle coordinator.
it's all my class stuff.
Okay, how cool is it that you have?
And he's a
garden?
parent.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I know. You should come see our garden.
Absolutely.
You'll see some pictures, but like we tried to, this is some of it. You could go, it's just kind of glary.
No, I see it, I see it, it's awesome. It's beautiful too. It's
It
not
is,
just,
and
it's not
it was
just.
designed by students.
Really?
And parents and other community members. That's part of the story.
That's so cool.
Okay. But it began,
Makes teaching so fun.
doesn't it?
Like the learning sport.
So you,
They like
you
doing
also
that.
teach other classes or just the garden?
Yeah, I
I'm
teach.
sure she thought she was.
I teach with the teachers.
Where are they sending you,
I'm
Sue? We better be
so sorry,
careful.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know she's been.
I
Yeah, I
live
teach with the teachers or with their aides or
And you?
with both of them sometimes. And I usually see that class once a week and whatever they're
We'll
studying,
chat.
we do.
Okay.
You know, it complements whatever they're doing in the class. So we'll do, plant parts in the garden and they've got their garden growing. Or, really, any life science topics fit real easy. Anything, nutrition, works really great. So that's,
Oh, I think you get the whole sort of inner voice thing.
oh, absolutely, we get it. A lot of teachers will use it for, the religion courses or outside for reading or any of that sort of thing.
So are you tracking this research about the microorganisms in the dirt and how they help us calm our, what you call it, our.
Randy, do you hear that?
Maybe that's why I'm so calm.
Yeah, seriously. One of the things that they do is
Not enough germs in dirt, right?
Because there are
Appropriate levels of
actual
risk.
microorganisms
Appropriate levels.
in the dirt that help really help you.
I believe it.
I don't, it's something that is not.
You know, it makes sense from that
does
biology
make sense.
perspective. We
Where
got
do you go?
microorganisms in our gut that
I
help
don't
you
know,
digest.
garden,
and-
you garden, you grow flowers, you, yeah, and go out and eat.
Harvest the rats.
Well, it's the opposite of guilt by association if you know these two.
Do you know Maggie?
I did meet Maggie.
So Maggie
I saw Maggie
is
coming
from
in
the
with
refugee
some
response.
stuff.
She's the director of agricultural programs.
Morty, what do you got going on over there in that school? That's awesome. Fabulous. Oh, regulating your session. I gotta go.
All right, we'll see you later.
What am I going to? I forget.
I'll
It'll
see
come
you.
back to you.
This is awesome. I know, how cool is this? They have a director.
Kitchen in a box.
So we should start.
This is so great. This is all you need.
I don't know if the other one's gonna. I haven't seen anybody walk.
Well,
Yeah, because I haven't seen anybody from this floor. We'll give it a couple.
But that's when Tony.
We were talking about that.
so that is
Tough to get
so all
whenever we get to a
Hello,
conference.
Camille? I'm just checking to make sure everybody's set. We're set.
There's,
We're
society's
good.
falling apart, so we're trying to put it back together.
Yes.
Maybe something that those kids.
Maybe we could put it on that. People can sit.
Because they didn't get back to work. Yeah, we have, thank you.
you have to come here. There should be.
say such as. Campaigns.
Okay, well, I'm still gonna try to bring people up so that we don't get too behind schedule.
Hey,
Well, you know what?
do you have a hash, do you have a Twitter tag?
I mean, probably, but do I use it?
It's cool. Thanks. I mean, it's really cool to see. It is
And have you?
Oh, I know. You gotta read it. Fall off the book.
Right, yeah.
So my other daughter, so downstairs is running over a little bit, but they still said that we should start to keep things going. So this is like being with family. So just so you all know, I've been fortunate enough to work with all four of these people in different capacities. So it's just really nice. I was really nervous coming into this.
Really?
Come on. To present and everything, but it's like, yes, why don't we start with you? What do you, okay, go.
I am Libby Panhorst. I work at Montessori High School at University Circle here in Cleveland, and I'm the Community Partnerships Coordinator there.
Hello everyone, my name is Shannon Jeffries. I am currently a graduate student at University of Maryland College Park, and I'm an Aspire alum.
Hi, Joe Romano. I've taught 5th and 6th grade math in Chick Heights Public Schools and been involved with Aspire for the past 6 summers.
I'm Kristen. I'm also Aspire teacher currently for English and Social Studies in the 9th grade, and I'm finishing my master's in English at Kent State currently.
Great, so what we are doing today is sharing our story of how we designed, created, and implemented our learning garden. And before we do that, we can introduce ourselves. I'm Natalie, and I'm the middle school vice principal at Urban Community School in Cleveland, Ohio.
And I'm Ann Juster, and I'm wearing 2 hats today. One is I work for the Cleveland Botanical Garden, and I'm the director of School Garden Partnership, and I'm also the interim director of their Green Corps program.
I'm Maggie Fitzpatrick. I am the director of agricultural empowerment with the refugee response. We'll know about that during the presentation.
And I'm Brandon Trout. I coordinate the Learning Garden at Urban Community School.
Great, okay.
Oh, terrific. So I'm going to open it up with a little interaction that we do at School Garden Visioning sessions. And that is bringing us back to a time when you felt profoundly connected to nature. This could have been yesterday, it could have been this morning, it could have been 10 years ago, it could have been 20 years ago. So in your groups of 3, just take a moment and think, when did you feel incredibly happy, peaceful, inspired when you were somewhere in nature? So think about where you were, what was going on, and how did it make you feel? Where were you, what was going on, and how did it make you feel? Take some time to think, and then we'll do that think, pair, share. Like, got it, talk to each other, and then we'll, make sense? Want us to do it too.
I was like,
I'm Kristen.
So we went back to Easter last year. And we took the kids out to the park where we play.
Personally,
And like the same
always
trees,
feel very
you
connected
climb
to
up.
nature. I'm always staring out. Not paying
My kids climbed up there too.
I think the last time that I can remember was like a profound moment this past fall, and on my way to work, I drive through a very country road with lots of beautiful trees alongside and everything like that. And I just turned the radio off and just marveled and attempted to drive the car at the same time with the beautiful fall foliage.
What I nice to do with trees also, I'm a avid dog walker. And I've been noticing just this past
That's
week,
where I used to go as a kid. Sit out.
things I've never seen before.
Yeah. That was like,
And
so cathartic.
Aspects of houses, sides of houses that I had never been able to see when trees were blue.
How light
And we've had such nice sunny days.
When I was a kid, we would go to the outer
You go at the get the sun on the side of the house, then well, someone gets sun
Yeah.
because of the blockage. And just a different view of the
The
world.
adults would have nap time, and they'd just say, go play, and so we would run the do tag, where it's hide and seek, but you would run as fast as you could until you just like ran off the dune. It's just that feeling of like, we're free, we're kind of pirates, we're just going to scream. It was super fun.
Does it have to be anything? Or
No.
can it be any time?
That's what I didn't do.
Childhood.
Yeah,
Denali. Denali on a clear day.
Is it that bright blue, that like turquoise blue, or is it different? Sometimes the pictures you see like a big wall that's like turquoise color.
I don't know. I was just looking at the mountain.
Yeah.
It's funny too, because it's kind of like Cheryl. I remember having some moments there where I was just like, I would stand and how hard
We're on a tour, did you drive?
Well, we went on a cruise.
Oh, a cruise, okay, okay.
it felt natural. It felt like this is what.
We did the driving, so there's only one road in Alaska.
So did everybody get a chance to think of a few things? And we don't have to share all of them, but the purpose of this is to just to sort of open up that lid of why. Why would you want to connect with nature? It actually does something to your brain to think back to those. Curious, anybody inspired to share? Joe, perhaps?
I was just talking about, I've been an avid dog walker for 100 years. And it was only this past week or month, maybe because of the shadows and the timing and the sun and the trees without leaves, that I've noticed aspects of houses and sides of houses that I had never noticed in ever. And I've been doing walks in this area for years and years. And just found it amazingly fascinating.
Yeah, always something new.
Yeah.
Anybody else inspired? Yeah.
I'm living in Cleveland and being as busy as I am, I don't get a chance to go out and see like nature as much as I want to, but just to be outside and just to have the sun hit your face and just smell the wind, and that's just, it's always just been very peaceful to me. But on the other side, Shannon spent some time in Brazil, and to see like how different Brazil and that atmosphere is, and to see those sunsets, but to still come back to Ohio and still find some of that same sort of beauty is very like powerful. Nature is just this bridge that brings together all different people and all different types. So you all can admire and bask in the glory of nature.
That's great.
Erica.
Anybody else? Are you sure yours?
Oh, sure. So I was taking my kid, I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, and when we were back for Easter last year, I think it was, we went to the park where we would always play as kids, and my kids were climbing the same tree that I always climbed, so it was like this real nostalgia thing. And that really kicked in hard when I heard my mom say to them, "Don't go any higher, we're gonna have to call the fire department." And I was like, she said that. You know, so, but it was this, you know, this big wide tree, big wide branches, and you could climb up and just kind of sit and stay there for the day if you want. It was a lot of fun.
So as a technique, it's really interesting to use that to get the group buy-in. We're talking about intergenerational, almost spiritual, reflection, meditative, and just discovery, even art and architecture. You can think about being outside. If you could do it, we did this at Urban Community School with the garden club to begin, because being with the botanical garden, I come in and I'm like, what's she doing here? What is she going to tell us to do? It's like, no, flipping the tables. Why do you feel this is an important connection with yours? So it kind of, some of the teachers were like that in the beginning, and after you got them talking about what made them happy about being outside, they relaxed a little bit. Because they think maybe, oh, this is something else I have to do.
So we were asked to
to talk about this partnership. And the partnership, the idea is creating a vibrant learning environment. And so for us at Urban Community School, in order to have those partnerships, which I've heard yesterday and today in the different other presentations, is the foundation of a strong and meaningful partnership. It requires a sort of trust that the other folks will do their part, that you will do your part. But our school has been really fortunate. We have a lot of long-standing relationships with organizations like Neighborhood Family Practice, the Greater Cleveland Food Bank, Cuyahoga Valley Environmental Educational Center, to provide both basic needs and outdoor exposure for our students. We were actually 21 years going with the CVEC for camp overnight with our 6th graders. So, but all that said, I think one of the most exciting partnerships that we have involves the work that we've been doing with the refugee response and the Cleveland Botanical Gardens. And so before we kick into the story, I want for each of us to just spend, most of you, all of you are actually local, so you might know all of us, but you also might not. And so I'm going to start. Urban Community School, it was founded almost 50 years ago by the Ursuline Sisters and of Cleveland. It's an independent faith-based school on it's on the west side of Cleveland. We serve about 500 students. We have, our mission is to provide primarily low-income children from Cleveland's near west side with individualized, innovative, and challenging education. That's our mission. Our family is primarily low income, so 2/3 of them qualify for free lunch. 75% are free or reduced. It's also racially diverse. There's no majority of race at our school. Since you're local, you understand how wild of a concept that is. But what we know from our working with our students for almost 50 years is that schools, we can't rely solely on academic rigor for student success in order to develop these well-rounded graduates. Too often, our students are faced with challenges that really do make academic success difficult. And so for us, we decided, we've always been committed to working to help overcome these challenges, and specifically serving the needs of a whole child. And by that, ASCD with the Whole Child Network defines that, which we agree with, that ensuring that students are healthy, safe, engaged, supported, and challenged. And if you're interested in that, just write down in your notes, Whole Child Tenants or Whole Child Network, and through ASCD you'll be able to find it. We've been really committed to that work. So we saw the Learning Garden as an exciting way to address some of these issues. Specifically and primarily, our objectives were, as you can read there, to be an outdoor classroom space for UCS students, providing opportunities for children of all ages to learn on and from the land in a rigorous and relevant context. To serve as a tangible example of our ongoing commitment to health, wellness, and nutrition of UCS's children and families. And to convert lots with rundown vacant homes into a productive farm filled with learning, fresh fruit, and employment opportunities.
So now it's my turn to share a little bit about the garden's role, the Cleveland Botanical Garden. And Cleveland Botanical Garden, I'll shorten it to CBG, has been around for quite a while. And from the very beginning, it's promoted the value of hands-on learning. You can see on the left there, that's a victory garden from 1942 at the Benjamin Franklin School. Cleveland was a leader nationally for school gardens and gardens at across the communities. Up until the late 70s, there was actually a garden on the grounds of the Board of Education and the mayor, Perk and all that. And then when busing came in and desegregation, they lost the funding. So this is not something new. It's been around for a long time, and this partnership is showing how it has continued vitality. Also at CBG, which is part of this program, since 1996, we've had a program called Green Corps, 20 years going, and it is 14 to 18-year-old teens from the city of Cleveland working on 5 learning farms in the city. All of the learning farms are located in fruit deserts. So we look at how can we use Green Corps and leverage that to reach out to school groups so we can impact more people. I am the director of School Garden Partnership. It's been around for 3 years. The thought was the garden would partner with schools. That was the link. But what I've seen in the 3 years that we've been doing it, that you need a school, you need a garden, and you need a partnership. So we are a perfect example of that 3-legged stool. So from the garden's perspective, I help with the visioning, or the garden's role is to help with the visioning, help with design, construction if necessary, and ongoing professional development. The school provides the curriculum, the students, the teachers, and the partner is critical. In this case, it's the refugee response, but it could also be the Boys and Girls Club, it could be the Warrensville Library, it could be the YMCA, for sustaining year-round. It's not just on the school or the garden. So how do we have this partnership together and learn more about that? Every garden is different. Every school has different aspirations. Some gardens, like Urban's, are amazingly large. Some are a plot or a container. So it's not one size fits all. Some of the partners that we've had with schools in town, as I mentioned, Boys and Girls Club, Open Doors Academy, Warrensville Library, Intergenerational School, Beachbrook, Citizens Leadership Academy, Intergenerational School, and several CMSD schools. It's been hard with schools because of the school calendar. When you need the most amount of work is when schools are not around. So that's why partnering with Boys and Girls Club and the library has been a real benefit, because those are 52 weeks out of the year. So we're learning as we go. So as I said, this is Benjamin Franklin School in 1942. Those are kindergartners attending to their victory plots. And on the right is Open Doors scholars at the EPREP Cliffs campus. They designed and constructed that herb spiral, which is a perfect example of STEM, so science, technology, engineering, math. So an herb spiral creates microclimates from the top to the bottom. And they got a little funky with it and designed it all in there the way that they wanted to, which was fantastic. And so those are 7th and 8th graders, and they were so proud of themselves. That's this is another picture from one of our partnerships at the Intergenerational School. They're called Buckeye Buddies. And so this is an example, that's why I was interested in Brandon's example of intergenerational partnering. For the volunteers here have been working for 20 years with 4th and 5th graders at Intergenerational School. Most recently, we connected them with Green Corps 3rd-year students, because I wanted to say we have 9 and 10-year-olds who are being mentored by 16 and 17-year-olds who are getting the influence of 16 and 17-year-olds. So 3 generations working in the garden together, which has been remarkable. And then you can see the benefits. It's just huge. You know, gardens are hard work. It's hot, you're weeding. Given a task, most kids will rise to the occasion. And there's just so much that could be taught in the garden. Oh, and the other thing I will add to that one, I wrote and received a grant from Whole Foods Foundation. It's called Whole Kids. They are extremely generous. So if you're looking for grants for your garden program, check out the Whole Foods Foundation. This was for a community garden, but they also give grants up to $2,000 for school-based gardens, which $2,000 is a lot of money to get yourself. Right. Next one. This is an example of how you do integrate the curriculum. We partnered with Open Doors Academy last summer. We had and that was funded by the Harvard Business School. So you're finding out ways to get funded, because it had an entrepreneurial bent. So it was an 8-week program. We had 4 different sites. The first week we established school gardens and planted. We used seed folks, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with as literature. It's movement-based. And planted, and then 3 weeks later, because you can't just plant the tomato and then come back the next day and pick it, we had to let things happen. We did the growing community where they used Lemonade Day, which is a national program around entrepreneurship, and they created a product that was based out of the garden. And Beet Bros was Garden Gals and Beet Bros. And they also, so how are you going to, they had to invest, they had to figure out the profit, and they had to give some away. They were so inspired by this. And the fact that they tended, you know, it could be mint that they grew in their herb spiral, but that was mint-infused water, and they were so proud of that. So that was last summer, and we did this 4 times, and that's from Open Doors Academy. Yes?
What's a seed bomb?
A seed
I'm
bomb
very interested.
is a type, it's clay, and it,
Yeah, you've got the, you know, you'll have some sort of container. At its simplest, it could be like a coffee ground filter, but any little biodegradable paper. You fill it with soil and seeds. And I think that making them and then throwing them somewhere is the most fun part. But the idea is like that you could plant the seed in your garden, or if you wanted to be kind of like a garden, guerrilla gardener or something, you could throw it to the empty lot or off the side of the highway. And if you get lucky and the conditions are right, the
That's
soil
so
and the
cool.
seeds. So if you get some good,
right? And you can see them in different places. I was in New York, went to one of the botanical gardens, and they were selling them in a gift shop in different little shapes. And so we were thinking of what could we do that could engage these middle schoolers around a garden product.
it's a lot of fun, yeah.
The right conditions is critical.
Right.
I've tried a couple, you never know.
But the idea is
But the
important.
idea is
Right,
right.
yeah.
And then you
That's
can do
it.
more research and
Yeah.
make them
And
work
if
the
you're
next
really
time.
serious, you put it in your garden bed and you create those right conditions, it'll surely grow. And if you threw it to the side of the highway, you can imagine that it grew.
Yeah, there you go.
And maybe it did, you know, so maybe
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah.
You can do a whole like native plants and seeds kind of lessons surrounding that.
You do themes. That's very exciting.
So to introduce Refugee Response, who I'm with, we aim to help recently resettled refugees in the Cleveland area. We try to do this by adding some additional and innovative programming on top of people's just basic needs when they arrive. So our mission is to empower refugees to truly become self-sufficient and contributing members of their new communities. So this is kind of beyond when someone arrives, beyond getting housing and getting your children enrolled in school and signing up for the kind of benefits you need. We come in kind of try after that with a few different programs, really trying to figure out, you know, how do we take the talents and strengths of these communities and help them realize their dream here in the United States. And just to do a little bit, because I know not everyone knows who a refugee is. A refugee is a person that must flee their home in fear of death or persecution. Once they cross an international border, that person is termed a refugee. After fleeing their home and crossing that international border, the UN High Commission on Refugees sets up a refugee camp. So this is a temporary living situation, and people reside there until either the dispute they fled can be resolved, or more likely until they're resettled to a country who is taking in refugees. So the average number of years people spend in a camp before resettlement is 15, which is quite a long time. And there is 158 countries of origin where people are fleeing from, and there's 26 resettlement countries, which the United States is one of them, and we take the most number of refugees out of all of those 26. After refugee families kind of make that journey from the refugee camp to the United States and start their new life, people typically have 3 months to acculturate, to acquire English language skills, and to basically become self-sufficient. And that is an incredibly challenging timeline for most people. Some people who have been lucky to kind of have some English classes or, you know, went through some good education in their home country might be able to cope with that timeline, but the majority, it's very difficult. So that's when the refugee response comes in, because we want to get in there and try to extend that timeline to allow for people to have some space and some time to really develop so that they can thrive here in the United States. We have a couple of different program areas that try to do this. One of them, we connect students to volunteers who serve as home tutors. So they provide homework help, but kind of become a mentor for that family. But really what we're here to talk about today is the farm program, which I run. So we found that 80% of refugees that were being resettled to the Cleveland area had agricultural backgrounds. So this was an amazing talent and skill set that people had already. And with our program, we have training and education, which allows people to focus on learning what it's like to work in a workplace in the United States, and also work on their language skills as they begin to work and support their families here in Cleveland. Currently, we have about 10 trainees who work as a group to grow food. We primarily do our work at the Ohio City Farm, which are the pictures that you see.
Will you orient them
Sure.
about where that is, because they may never
It's
have
like
known.
not that
Yes,
far.
you've been there without knowing it,
Yeah.
because it's behind, I'm telling you, go for it.
It's just a mile from downtown Cleveland. It's adjacent to the West Side Market. So basically, if you've been to the West Side Market and been in the parking lot, you know, you're about 100 feet away from
If
the
you,
parking lot.
now, next time you go to the West Side Market, and you park, if you ever are lucky enough to park by where the Mitchell stuff is, and you see a
Never.
purple, what do you call
Big
that?
purple shipping
Container,
It's like a box.
shipping container.
container. Shipping container.
Yeah,
It's
That's the
painted purple.
entrance to where they are.
This is
And look
farm
at that.
stand.
behind that giant
That's massive.
housing
The fact that I
building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many acres
know
is
that's
it?
here, I feel like.
I feel like I've been like a fraud for living, not knowing about it.
Sort of like a lot of things, we don't know about the assets that we
It's
have.
very much blocked. You can drive up and down 25th and not see it because there is a high-rise public housing building in front of it. So a lot of it is kind of blocked from view. But it is a nearly 6-acre farm, just a mile from downtown Cleveland, which makes it one of the largest, if not the largest, urban farm in the nation. So,
It's
really
in my
cool.
backyard.
Yeah,
Good lord.
yeah.
So you can get a
Still
CSA.
knowing adequate.
Yeah, absolutely. Come visit. Maybe wait a month or so until it warms up a little before you dries out a little more, but absolutely come see us. But this is where we do the majority of our work of growing food for local restaurants and for community members, with Urban Community School kind of being a secondary site for us. Yeah, but I think that's a good,
Beautiful
that's
view
a
of
good-
Cleveland.
that's-
Do you take tours and things like that? Like if
We do, absolutely. You can get in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have, you know what, I really should have brought